Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It is Tuesday, March 31st. And our mission here with this show is to keep you informed. Good morning, HCC community. I know students are back in session right now. Faculty is very busy, and staff may have some questions. And before we get to our main guest today, I want to welcome Brittany Pacheco, our co-host. Brittany, thanks for being here.
Good morning, Todd. It's good to be here.
Absolutely, and Brittany's going to be joining us in a few moments. She monitors your questions that you may have posted in social media anytime during this live stream or after. If you're watching the recorded version, you can always post your questions in the comments below or direct message us through social media, and we'll address those comments either publicly or send you a message or have someone reach out through email. Joining us right now, our special guest this morning, Janet May, Chief Human Resources Officer, Talent Engagement with Houston Community College. Janet, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Todd. Good morning, Brittany. It's great to see you guys again.
Absolutely, and I know we are already in week number 2, which is hard to believe, of this new virtual work world we're living in right now. But yesterday was significant because students returned back to classes online, and the faculty was back online as well. What are your impressions as we move into the second week of this and after our first day of classes?
I think everything went as well as we could anticipate. I cannot say enough about our faculty and staff and how well they have prepared and how quickly they have done so. I'm sure it still feels a little new to all of us for our students to come back. And also the support. I've heard a lot of faculty who are really reaching out to their students, trying to support them. There's been a couple of Facebook pages that have been set up where if students have questions, they can come in and just really get that information. So I think it went really well. We have been doing the virtual coffee breaks, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit going through. And yesterday, we really focused on, with Dr. Melissa Gonzalez, that first day and what can we do to support our students as we go through. And it went really well. And for the rest of the week, we will be focusing on that. It's going to be what's our first week in an online virtual teaching with all of our students.
Folks in the community may not know this, but I know, and I've talked to some faculty members, and especially those who've been doing the training for others. These training courses were supposed to take place over 6 weeks, and we had to get everybody up to speed in a couple of weeks. That's a monumental task for you guys to work with the administration on.
It definitely is, and I have to say that really that shout out goes to instruction. Instruction took the big load with that. Dr. Norma Perez and her team did a phenomenal job. I cannot say enough about all the faculty mentors. Let me see if I can say that 3 times fast. Mentors that have come into play with us. They really reached out. They really embraced it. They made sure that if faculty had questions, they were there for them. And so, this training that is typically a 6-week training to take your course into an online virtual world was basically done over about a week and a half period. And I couldn't, like I said, I am so proud to be part of HCC when you see these type of things that go through and how much we support and collaborate with one another and really focus on our students.
Janet, yesterday we had a number of deadlines that were approaching us for employees to know about. What are some of those deadlines, and what should we have all done right now to make sure we're in line with what you need from us?
So probably the biggest one is that if you are working remotely, you need to have completed your remote work form. That form is available online at the COVID-19 Essential Resources for Faculty and Staff site. And if you've already completed the form, please don't complete a new one because they'll just get one after the other. We've gotten a great response so far, and we still have some coming in. So if you are working remotely, please make sure that you get that form in and your supervisor approves it. That gives you the authorization to work remotely. We also want to remind everybody, if you are working remotely and you are non-exempt, make sure you're clocking in and out of the system and use your virtual private networks. Also make sure that you are doing not only just your virtual private networks, but any information you're storing those on your OneDrives or other HCC approved drives. Don't store things on your personal laptops and computers.
Janet, a little bit, we've gotten a couple of questions for unique situations, like I can't clock in, I know I've got VPN access, or my forms are not going to my supervisor because I think I'm still reporting to somebody else technically. For those personalized questions, where can they email you, or how does that work? Would they reach out to their generalist as they normally would?
They can do both ways. We actually, when we started all of this right before spring break, we did a resource line for all employees, for faculty and staff that they can call into, and that resource line is still available. And that resource line is 713-718-2300. And then you can also email the resource line at COVID-19, all one word, .resources@hccs.edu. We have a team who monitors those calls and that site, so we'll be able to get with you very quickly. So when you have questions like that, send them in to us that way, and we'll be able to help resolve those very quickly.
You mentioned the virtual coffee breaks, and I know those have been very successful for you so far. What's been the feedback with those?
The feedback's been really great, and I want to say I'm a little surprised because I didn't know how they were going to turn out when we did these. This is kind of a brainstorm as we were going through of a way to keep people engaged. So we've had really great success with those. Every single one of our presidents will be attending those coffee breaks, and we'll finish the week with Dr. Margaret Ford Fisher. Today at 11, we have Dr. Phil Nicotera. And then Thursday, we're skipping Wednesday because of board. Thursday will be Dr. Monique Onfrey with Northeast College. So they've gone really well. We've had we always have pretty much over 200 individuals that participate in those each day. The feedback's it's been really interesting. You watch the chats and watch everybody interact with one another. So just like Todd, you and I are talking, we have a very informal conversation over a cup of coffee, kind of seeing how people are adjusting to the remote world, tips that our presidents can give, or even some personalized stories on that side. What I've been really thankful for is that IT has been with us every step of the way. So Kyle Cooper, who's our executive director for cybersecurity, has kind of been my sidekick for this, helping me through. And he's popped in on every single one and answered questions, or given us kind of a tip of the day and things of that nature. So I think they've been really well received, and we have been recording them, so they're available at any time on the COVID-19 Essential Resources for Faculty and Staff site that's on my HCC. So I've been really proud of, surprised and proud of everything that we've been able to do. And I think it's really helped a lot of people connect and know that they're not in this alone. And that's been our biggest thing that we wanted to make sure, is that people knew you're not in this alone. We are here to help. We're all going through this.
I'm glad you gave a shout out to Kyle Cooper and his team. Without the folks from IT, none of us would be doing what we're doing right now. So those guys work tirelessly, literally 24/7, 365 days a year, and we appreciate all that they do. What questions are you noticing that are reoccurring during these coffee breaks that you could tell us about?
A lot of them the first week, they were more technical. They were, how do I set up my virtual private network? Or how do I get a laptop? Those have kind of died down a little bit. They kind of started dwindling a little bit on Friday, and we started seeing more of the questions coming up of, how do I interact with my students? Or if it's a faculty member, how do I get help with setting up my Canvas course? How do I get help of knowing what I need to do in an online world? So those have really shifted, so to speak, into more of that, how do I help my students? How do I help as I go through? Where last week, when we first started, they were more of the technical nature, or really asking some things because they hadn't seen all the advertisements that were coming out in regards to, we had gone to virtual on all of our help desks. So, the Genius Bar is now 100% remote. And at the beginning of the time, they were used to being able to go in and see somebody. So I think those were most of the questions. Now they've moved more into, how do I interact? How do I engage? How do I do this? What can I do to stay engaged? We had a couple of people say, I kind of feel a little out of the loop. What can I do? And so we kind of work through that as we go through on all of our virtual coffee breaks.
Any special things that faculty's now back working, teaching classes, but any special things that you would like to let them know as we move and now classes have resumed again?
I think the biggest thing is, I just want to let them know how much I thank them for what they do. I know that there was a huge, huge lift as we were going through to move to this, and they were tremendous and phenomenal in their response. I can't say that enough because I think sometimes people don't realize how big of a lift it was. I think the other thing is to tell our faculty, they're going to be going through a lot of things that our students are. So we want to remind everybody to be patient, be kind, be compassionate, and be flexible. We're all going to go through this. I think I shared with you, Todd, I was doing one of my virtual coffee breaks and had a dog start barking in the middle of it. That was really professional and great as we were going through, but those are the things that happen. And especially with our faculty, know that our students are going through some of the same things. So as much as they're trying to focus on their coursework, they might have children at home who are also having to do online learning. So just be flexible in everything you do and help out in any way you can.
Janet May, we appreciate you joining us this morning. I know you mentioned you've got coffee breaks and you've got another one coming up. Tomorrow we have our virtual board meeting. So
yes,
that will be happening tomorrow. But when do you start up again with the coffee breaks, and when can people expect to see you?
Yeah, so we will have one today at 11. Our next one will be Thursday at 11 a.m. And those are posted out on our site. And we've also sent talent engagement news items with the links in them. And then another one on Friday, and that will be with Dr. Ford Fisher. And that'll round out the week. And then we'll announce the ones for the upcoming weeks closer to the end of this week.
Once again, Janet May, Chief Human Resources Officer, Talent Engagement, thank you for being here on Up to the Minute and keeping us up to date with everything we need to.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I love seeing y'all. I know we can't see each other face to face, so this really works out well. And for some extroverts like me, it makes you not feel so isolated.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here, Janet, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Definitely. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. Brittany Pacheco is back joining us once again. Brittany, thank you for being here again today. And I know you've been, as many of us do, you've been monitoring social media. Have you been noticing any questions this morning reoccurring that we could address?
Yeah, Todd. So good morning from London, or, I was in London. If you notice my backdrop, decided just to change the scenery a little bit in my nerd room. Tomorrow might be a different location, so stay tuned for that. But in terms of social media questions, we have gotten a couple questions from our Coleman students in regards to the LVN program and the RN program. We did mention last week that deadline applications would be extended for those programs. So to all of our Coleman students who are inquiring about application deadlines, please head over to our website and find the Coleman page where they'll have a list of all their different programs, and you can go to any one of those pages depending on who you or what it is you're wanting to study, and go down to the very bottom for the contact block, and you will see either a phone number or an email. At this time, we would encourage everyone to use the email since we are working remotely. In other news, Todd, we've had a lot of positive feedback from students. I know yesterday was a really big day for us just because the fact that we finally transitioned to the online platform for students to continue their classes. And I just want to say on Twitter, we had a student who said, I have to hand it to HCC, the efficiency displayed during this COVID outbreak and how quickly they transitioned every single course to an online course is impressive. I started my classes today without skipping a beat.
That's great to hear from our students because they're number one. We're here for the students and to make sure that they can go to their classes. And Janet May mentioned it yesterday. Dr. Shantae Grays, our Vice Chancellor of Student Services, mentioned how big of an undertaking it was for the faculty to get up to speed to teaching and delivering classes online. Before we went into the spring break, I was getting texts from people saying, why don't you guys just go straight online? And the question was posed to administration here. They're saying, hey, we're headed in that direction, but it's a huge undertaking because not all the courses translate to direct online learning. So we had to figure things out. And, it was such a big task for all the faculty to do that. And literally to take a 6-week course in a matter of a week and a half and to start performing within that week and a half is just incredible when you think about it.
It really is, and not just for our institution, of course, but you talk about all the other public institutions across the state, across the country. And this is, as we've said, this is a totally new environment for everyone. I don't think we would have ever expected to live in a time where we had to continue classes completely online. We have to work remotely. We would have to stay indoors just for the health and safety of not only ourselves and others. So Janet and other guests that we've had on this show have all said it, to be kind, be patient, and we really do appreciate all of our students understanding when they do have their questions that are either left as comments or direct messages, whatever. We are reading them, we are responding to them, and your voice is being heard by our college administration. So there's still some things that we're trying to work out. Students, in regards to grading, for example, hopefully we'll have an update soon for you all about that to, put your mind at ease. And, just keep that open dialogue with your instructors, and please be patient with your instructors as well. They have to move from their lecture courses to 100% online, and they've got lots of other classes and lots of other students that they're trying to, reach out to and stay in touch with. So just pack some patience. I know it's hard, but you guys can do this. You're diligent. You have to put that discipline behind you at this time to get your courses completed, and you're going to prevail. It's going to be okay.
It is going to be okay. We're all going to get through this. We're doing things a little bit differently now, but sooner or later, we're going to get back to our normal lives. It is going to happen. We're going to be able to go back in those buildings, and you get to see people in person and sit in those classes again with your professors. And we're going to get back to things sooner or later. It's just being delayed right now, and everyone is doing the best they can. And everyone, I think the theme has been over the past week and a half or so, is just to be flexible. Whether you're a student, be flexible. If you're faculty, be flexible with your students. And if you're staff here or administration, flexibility is a big deal for all of us as we keep up with things right now.
That's absolutely true. And I think you said it well. Be flexible and just kind of go with the flow right now. It's not ideal for everyone. And students, I have read your messages about how if you wanted to take an online class, you would have signed up for it. But this is a very unique situation, and we are, as an institution, doing our best to try to be able to give you that same quality education that you would receive in the classroom online. So again, we appreciate your patience, we appreciate your understanding, and we do appreciate your flexibility as we are working through this whole ordeal. And we're going to have to really rely on each other more so than ever. And again, just keep that open dialogue with your instructors. And there are resources available for students to check out. If you go to hccs.edu/health-notice, there is a section towards the bottom where it says resources for HCC students, and you'll be able to find a plethora of information there, from advising to counseling to even HCC textbooks. And actually, while we're talking about that, I do want to make students aware that HCC bookstores are offering 2 options for students to purchase and access books while we're remote. So there's a post on our social media pages right now, but again, if you go to that same website I just mentioned, the /health-now, or notice, sorry, I'm getting 2 different URLs confused right now, but the student resources, there is a link for HCC textbook options, and where you can get free ebooks. I'm going to say that again. Free ebooks all the way through May 25th. So go check out that post.
And Brittany, I wanted to show something on the screen here if we can. We're going to get, here we go. I'm going to show the homepage, because Dr. Grays was on the show yesterday, and she talked about the fact that we have a virtual lobby. And you can reach this. That's what the virtual lobby looks like. But here's how you can reach it. You go to our homepage, and you scroll down to the bottom, and this is for students that may have specialized questions. Say you don't want to post your question in social media, you want to get it out there, but you want someone to answer you directly. You go to the bottom of the page, see where it says Virtual Assistant right here. You click on that, And that's going to take you back to the HCC virtual lobby. You fill in your student ID, your information, date of birth, your email address, contact number. And in the comments section here, you can literally get them to give them your situation. Because, Brittany, as you know, a lot of folks are interested in the fact their questions are very personalized. And they're very important, but it may not be important to everyone, so they don't need to share it all in social media. This is perfect for those situations.
That's absolutely correct, Todd. And in many cases with our students, we have very specific questions that cater to them. And we don't always have the answers ready for them at that time. So this is absolutely a great way for students to have their specific needs be asked, and hopefully we'll get that answer very shortly. And we're working very hard, everyone, and I think everyone knows that, and we appreciate everyone's patience during this time as we are working through these little hiccups as we transition to being online.
Another thing that folks need to keep in mind is that we're approaching the deadline of the census. Tomorrow's April 1st. We'll leave that whole thing alone about April Fool's Day, but it's April 1st and it's the end of the census. Now, you can still take part in it, and it is law, but we need to get your head count, whether you're undocumented or documented. I did it over the weekend. I got a notice in the mail saying, hey, you done it yet? I'm like, oh, man, I need to get that done. It took a few minutes. I went to 2020census.gov. I entered my number, and bam, a few questions I answered, and you're done, literally, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, Todd, you're absolutely correct. So I got the same ordeal. I also had a letter in the mail from the census, and I went online, plugged in my little unique code to answer questions about my household. And you're right, it literally took 5 minutes. So this is really easy and really important to everyone at this time, because funding will be impacted by what we report. So in terms for public schools, in terms for clinics, and other really important programs that are essential to our livelihood, it's really important. As I said, I can't stress that enough. It's really important for everyone to participate, and it doesn't matter if you're documented or undocumented. This is 100% anonymous, 100% confidential, and incredibly essential, especially in the times that we're living right now.
Absolutely. We need, all of us need the funding, whether we're a university, a college, public supported, or a government entity, an agency, from childcare to healthcare. All those are state funded in many cases. And in order to get the proper amount of funding, we have to have the right head count. So if you would please do your census. It's important to all of us, especially now in this time of need. Brittany, one thing I talked about, and you've heard me say this over the time, over the past few months, but I wanted to grow our audience. My goal was 3 times to triple the audience size. We've at least gone 6, 7, sometimes 10-fold as far as expanding our audience. And I really do appreciate everybody out there watching us, because we're trying to get the word out to you during these weird times. It's important to have that face-to-face contact. So we want to bring relevant guests on with vital HCC information to make sure you're up to date with everything you need to know as we're living in this new world. And we do it at 10 a.m., 1 p.m. Share this if you would. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You know the whole routine.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just really important. We provide all of our students, faculty, and staff the latest information. And this is a great platform to be on, to have guests so that you can hear that important information firsthand. And students, again, follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, even Snapchat. And be sure to send us your questions. We'll relay them to college administration and hopefully provide to you an answer as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. And, do comment below and let us know what those questions are. We try to keep this interactive, and that's what makes it a great tool to reach you, because if you've got a live question during the live stream, we'll try to answer it for you. And if you have a question that pops up afterwards, well, we'll answer that for you as well. But Brittany, thank you for being here today and keeping us up to date with social media and working on the show. And we will see you tomorrow, but we'll also see you later today at 1 p.m. If you have a small business, We've got some news for you. Services for small businesses. We'll talk more with experts at 1 p.m. on the later edition of Up to the Minute. Brittany, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Todd, for having me. I'll see you tomorrow.
And we'll see you tomorrow on Up to the Minute. Have a great day.